what you want wants you. You would never have a desire for something unless you were already pre-wired to do it. My parents decided to put me into Bennett High School, and that's where I met Miss Rita Lankus, my English teacher. She got to know me, and she said, "Young man, I want you to write an original speech and give it before the entire class." And I said, "Okay." And the rest is history. That was almost 29 years ago. That sophomore year experience, from my sophomore year to my senior year in high school, I literally found my lane. I found my thing. If you think about this, there's a sign on the road that says, "Slow traffic, stay to the right." And that sign is on the road because it's an invitation that if you're going to accelerate in your future, you may have to shift lanes and get into the fast lane and move into the thing that wants you. Right now, there are two things happening. You are both being and becoming at the same time. The prefix for both of those words, being and becoming, is to be. So when I really understand that I'm future present and that I'm creating the future in the present, whatever I had brought to this moment in my being is literally creating the path that I'm going to walk on. You're the sum total of every thought that you have literally processed in your mind up until this point. Every word that you have literally said has created your future because words carry energy. When I understand what I really want and I understand how to be, I step into the moment and I live from the place of the future. Every day at some time, I will literally have a daydream, and it's in that daydream where I'm living from the future in the present. So it impacts my languaging, it impacts my thinking, it impacts how I feel, it impacts how I show up, but here's the more important thing. It also impacts who I attract into my field. When it is time for you to move into a new dimension, you will attract people who have a piece of information and they become the piece of the puzzle that's missing for you to get into the future. But what they come to do is to shortcut or accelerate where you're trying to go. You don't walk into the future, you quantum leap into the future. You literally become so present to the moment that when you walk into a room, you're not in the room is in you. Because in your spirit, you say, "I have been here before," and every person that I need to connect with, they literally will be drawn to my field and they will say something that becomes a serendipitous moment because I already heard it in my future. So when I hear that and when I understand that, I just understand that wherever I'm supposed to be, just be there because my future is unfolding as I begin to listen and release the need to be right. When I release the need to be right, the future is not something that I'm pushing myself into, it's something that I'm pulling towards me. Person who has shifted into the lane of brilliance, he or she understands how to operate whole, W-H-O-L-E, and there is no hole, H-O-L-E, in their soul. When people are not operating from a place of wholeness, there's a split in their soul and their energy is scattered. They're pulled in a million different directions by situations, circumstances, and just life in general. People who have shifted into their brilliance, they connect, they just don't communicate. They ask, they just don't tell, because they realize that the answer is in the question, and the quality of your questions determine the quality of your thinking. People who have shifted their brilliance realize the answer is yes. Now what's the question? When I intersect with that problem, I discover that I was the missing piece to the puzzle that was needed at that right time. It's until I get to a place called there. And how you get there in here. And once you get there in here, all of a sudden you show up, and it's not about how can I fix, it's about how can I release and help. When you become the solution to a problem, you come to unlock what's been holding that person or that situation back, so that as they go forth, they are able to help others make a shift, because something shifted in them because they got connected to the ultimate shifter, you. Relationships are the currency of the future. So the most important thing you can do is find who your tribe is, engage them, connect with them early and often, and pour into them, because it's the tribe that will give back to you and challenge you to be the best that you can be. Execution. It's all about execution. The moment you execute, you put one foot in front of the other, I believe the universe begins to take one step closer to you. But you've got to do the hard work of getting up off your blessed assurance and executing. 3 things that you really have to consider. Number 1, getting really clear on what it is you want or you intend to achieve. Just getting really clear on that. And then once you get clear on that, become very candid about, this is how I will use my time, this is how I will use my energy. And then the third thing is, create that compelling 3 things that you really have to consider. Number 1, getting really clear on what it is you want or you intend to achieve. Just getting really clear on that. And then once you get clear on that, become very candid about, this is how I will use my time, this is how I will use my energy. And then the third thing is, create that compelling statement, 12 words or less, that pulls it all together. That's my passion. That's what I do. So I'm very clear, 10% of the world's population. I'm very candid. I aspire to inspire, very candid, and then it's compelling. And that, for me, becomes the driving thing that keeps all the oars in the water moving in the right direction.
Alignment.
And you know what's interesting, Nora, about when you say the word alignment, one of the core threads that really runs through Shift Your Brilliance is that when I am aligned with my head, my heart, and my hands, my feet will follow. But it's that internal alignment for external execution. So when I am truly aligned, and I love that word that you've selected, I am really living from the inside out. And when I live from the inside out, I really find how to fall in love with myself again. And when I fall in love with myself again, I attract people who are, they love who they are, and together, when we connect, we're not talking here, we're talking heart to heart. Because we know alignment when we see alignment, and when we hear alignment, and we feel intuitively an alignment. And all of a sudden, the connection to connect with you because you're aligned. trying to jockey to find out, well, what is it that you can do for me? I connect with you because you're aligned. Personal branding is realizing that you are not just a product or service. You are an emotion. You are a connection. You are a moment. You are a memory. You are a perception. And every single day that you realize that you create moments, that's your personal brand. Every single day that you live, you are creating a moment. And that moment creates momentum, and that momentum creates monumental results. So today, create a moment. Quit your job and go to work. Create a moment. Personal branding is when you understand customer service is a department, but customer love is a mindset. Entrepreneurship is how do you provide services that people need and can't get anywhere else, and you add such a special touch to it that they become your unofficial marketing department for what you offer. That's an entrepreneur. Creativity is understanding how to look at something as a blank sheet of paper and literally create something that's beautiful out of your own mind. Conformity robs you of creativity. Create something from your spirit and you put it on the canvas of life and you literally put your personal signature on it because it was created out of your heart.
Yes.
Do not get lost in the headlines. All the headlines right now are talking about income segregation and the top 1%. Your concern should not be about the top 1% and the disparity of who has the most money in America and certainly the world. Your response should be, what does the 99% need that I can provide a solution to them? So don't worry about the 1%. Focus on the 99%. The U.S. Department of Labor says that there are 23 million jobs that have disappeared from this economy in the last few years, and those jobs are not coming back. So stop looking for a job and go to work. Create a job. Create work. Figure out what it is you need to do, because the best hand that will feed you at the end of the day is the one at the end of your wrist. The fortune is in the follow-up. No follow-up, no fortune. So if you want to take it to the next level, I want you to identify 3 to 5 relationships that will challenge you to go to the next dimension. Here's the thing. If all of the relationships that you have, if everyone looks like you, your circle is too small. Sometimes you want broadband results, but you use dial-up methods. We have moved from a point-and-click world to a touch-and-swipe world. So that means you need to have relationships that might be global in mindset,